Good evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and joining me most of the time, as always, we got my good buddy Digger Jim. Jim, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm fine. It's Tuesday and it's not Thursday, but
Oh, pumpkin, you gonna
just
be
a reminder:
okay?
Digger Jim will not be here on Thursday. He will be on the road.
Oh yeah, I gotta get a guest host for Thursday. That's
He's
right.
going to do a ridiculous wedding on Friday the 13th. Who gets married on Friday the 13th?
I've been to a few weddings on Friday the 13th.
You know what? I'm not superstitious, so that wouldn't bother me at all. I don't believe in any of that garbage. Like the dates are superstitious. Whatever.
Nah, it's bad juju. I don't like it.
And of course, making his second appearance on the channel, we are very, very happy to welcome back none other than Uncouth Rooth himself. Mike, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man. Always good.
Absolutely. And Mike, before we get going, let the people know who you are, where they can find you, and what you've been working on. And I got to grab something.
I'm Mike Rooth. You can find me online on Instagram as Uncouth Rooth. That's pretty much the only social media I'm on right now, other than my Facebook, which I show up at very periodically. But I'm just Mike Rooth there. I've worked on all kinds of stuff. I've been an illustrator since the mid-'90s, but working in comics since around 2010. And in that time, I've done tons of covers and pinups and all kinds of little short stories and things in comics. Nothing super major, although, I mean, I got to be in Savage Sword of Conan, do a story in Savage Sword, and that's about as big as it gets for me. But yeah, it's been good. I've had a lot of fun. I've been very blessed. I've been able to activate my weapons when I get lucky enough for a phone call to come in to hire me for a gig. So I'm always at the ready. The swords are always sharp, you know.
I think you're doing yourself a quick disservice, though. So I'm going to have to take you off and put myself on real quick. Because, guys, in your comic shops tomorrow,
yes,
in case Mike didn't mention it, is his cover for the Vampirella Winter Special.
I was hoping I was going to have my copies sent to me. They normally send me like 3 or 4 comics.
Do I have a copy of your book before you?
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
Look, I just want to say one thing while we got everybody here live. It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. Right.
So here it is, guys. The Mike Rooth Vampirella Winter Special cover. When you're in your LCS tomorrow, pick it up and support this great artist and community member. And please check out his Conan work.
I appreciate that. Yeah, buy 2 because the more that sell, the more they'll be inclined to hire me. And I like working with those guys. They got a lot of great properties, so it's an exciting time for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we'll give a quick hi to Mr. Steve White, who should be back on pretty soon, hopefully. We got Paul from Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, Paul. Great to see you, sir. We have Ruby G, Calm Cool Collected, another great member of our community. Hope you and the family are doing well. We have one of my all-time favorite people, Jerry the Jitterbug. And we have another great community supporter who's always got everybody's back. We're talking about none other than Marcus from Circumstances. Good evening, Marcus. Yes. Great to see you, sir.
Hello.
Now, without further ado, we got to go back to Mike here. Now, Mike, I piqued your interest, your curiosity last time you were on.
You did.
Getting back in and reading what? Valley of the Worm.
Yes.
And you've fallen in love with it. Now,
I have, yeah.
This is my favorite version in this collection.
Ooh.
Just because it's real easy to read. But so this is, for those who don't, Berkeley put these out. No, Ballantine Books, Del Rey. So there's a whole series of these books. They have like 3 Conan ones, a Solomon Kane, a Bran McMorn, a whole bunch. Just
there's a whole bunch of stories in there.
Sweet.
Okay.
The horror one's great too. The Robert E. Howard horror stories.
I've been
this is my favorite way to read
stories.
The Valley of the Worm is in this particular.
Oh, very cool. Are there illustrations in there too? Like
there are. There's limited illustrations.
Yeah.
It's mostly prose, but like let's see, we'll get one here for you. So like they had when he fought. Let me make it big so everyone's not trying to. When he fought Satha.
Satha, yeah. Oh, that's so great.
That looks like almost like a fang snake.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's weird, right? Because they did a Sappho one, but they didn't do like the actual worm itself.
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, Seth is important to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, we gave Jim homework of reading it.
I read it on the classic
Hey,
iPad
Mark.
Kindle
Very cool.
with no
Right, so-
pictures.
And it was I think it's a good first story for people to read who have never read Howard, because it's very lyrical in its prose. And it reads so well, and it really gives you a definitive outlook of the way he composes his stories and the way he speaks through his writing. And I think it's just one of the prime examples of one of the things he does. Now, what draws you to this story, Mike?
Well, you put that bug in my head last time, and I knew I had read it many, many years ago, like probably in high school, probably some collected paperback edition that might have had it. It sounded familiar. And then when you read the story, you realize this is kind of what James Allison, the narrator, is saying. This is every story. This is kind of this, without getting, super cheesy and cosmic about it. It's just got all these things that we have seen repeated through stories, but in a way that you're kind of, as a kind of freshly read news story to me, because it's been like 30 years since I read it, it was like reintroducing very familiar stuff, but in a really fresh way. And you realize this is probably the first time this type of devices were used. Maybe I'm wrong, but like when I've been getting more into I've been reading all the Conan stuff, obviously, but I've been trying to dabble into the other Robert E. Howard stuff, of which there's so much. And I couldn't believe how much stuff he's written outside of the Hyborian Age. He
was very prolific.
Oh, it's crazy. So I'm really just kind of dabbling into that, but I don't have a lot of time to read, and I only have it on my phone most of the time. So what I do is I actually got the audiobook, and there's an audiobook on Audible, The Valley of the Worm, and it's exactly 58 minutes long or something. And it's a little cheesy, but it's got just enough kind of character that the narration makes it kind of pumps you up as you go.
Right.
And I've listened to that thing probably, in some cases, I listened to it 3 times today, but I've listened to it like almost like putting on a favorite record and just having talk in the background while I'm drawing. And so what I've been trying to do all month is, because the story is just so rich with like visuals, that I listen to it and I'm kind of doodling in my sketchbook while I'm listening to it, and I'm stopping halfway through drawing an arm or halfway through drawing a face, and I move on to the next part of the story, and I'm just kind of filling a book with scribbles right now. But
and you were going to share some of those tonight, right?
I will. I'll share a few of them, yeah. But
what I like too about the story too is it has a recurring theme in it that a lot of Robert E. Howard stories do, and that's reincarnation.
Yeah.
And remembering your past lives. And this is dealt with in a lot of his storytelling. It's something he was kind of fascinated with.
Yeah, and well, James Allison is an interesting character. Now, I remembered, I like I said, it's been a long time since I read Valley of the Worm, but I know that in Battle of the Black Stone, Titan, they had James Allison as a character in that, and I thought, I know this character. So when I was, the last couple of weeks, I've been listening to this audiobook while I've been sketching, and I've been thinking, he's a character that actually I didn't realize had been used in other stories. So like he's used in this one called Garden of Fear, where it's a similar thing, where he's remembering a time when he was, a different kind of Viking style kind of fighter character fighting a bat monster and stuff like this. So there's so many, and then I think those are the only 2 pure Robert E. Howard ones. And then after that, I think they were sort of adapted or added on to by other authors over the years. There's a couple of them came out in the 70s that featured James Allison, and then of course the comic book edition.
Right.
He did so many with me, and they were all fascinating because they're all people that weren't who they wanted to be in their present life, remembering a past where they were actually glorious or accomplished.
Well, he's describing the most epic hero of all time, and he's dying he's in his deathbed.
Right.
It's just kind of an amazing. It's just great.
And that's one of the cool things with the comic adaptation differs a little bit from the prose version. And one, they give a few panels to a woman named Helga because they want to put a woman in the comic.
Sure, yeah.
For the teenage kids, right?
Yeah.
And although she's not a character in the book, and she's only mentioned in a few panels in the comic, Now, at the end, I don't want to spoil. We'll save that bit of trivia for the end of the comparison I like. But I did want to note one thing that's different where they made an error in the comic adaptation. Now, let's see. Let's get one of them out. I thought I had one out. Here we go. Sorry, guys. So the comic, and make myself big a second before we get into Mike's art. This is Jerry Conway and Roy Thomas did the adaptation, the script. The cover art and the interior art is by Gil Kane, and I think it's one of Gil Kane's masterpiece works. It's just brilliant. As you can see, a gorgeous cover. But inside, the character that he befriends after the battle,
Gorm.
His name Grom.
Grom, right? Yeah, Grom.
In the Robert E. Howard story. Now, when they adapted it to comics, they accidentally inverted the O and the R and made him Gorm.
That's probably why I got it twisted just now. Yeah.
But
Grom,
except on one page where they got his name right. So there's only one point in this book where his name is correct.
Man, that editor needs to be walloped.
Yeah, just dragged him out of the tomb
right. And that was on page 15. They got his name right.
Wow.
At the very end, right? At the very end, he gave his name right.
So just a little bit of fun trivia. But,
yeah. Well, I only knew about that comic's existence recently, and I've been kind of looking for it. But I was hoping to find an online version I could read. But I actually, at the same time, don't want to see it because I wanted to just honestly go from the raw impression of the original material,
right?
Having it read to me, and it's funny. Like every time I hear it, I'm picking up a little bit of detail because he doesn't give you a full description of anything ever. He gives you bits, and then as he's describing the worm in kind of fragments, later you find out, and then there was tentacles or there was antennae, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, so this thing's evolving in my head as I'm because my thing is it's a public domain, material. At least it is in Canada right now and in Australia. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to do an illustrated book?
It is worldwide, except for the States.
Yeah. And I think it's, I still wouldn't want to go and do something unauthorized until it was, obviously clear that it could be done. There'll be a lot of that kind of stuff happening in time. But something about this story, man, it just gripped me. And I thought I'd love to do something along these lines. Like, I don't know, you guys obviously saw the Tower of the Elephant illustrated version, like the hardcover that they had. That
I got it in the other room.
Yeah, it's just beautiful, and I've always wanted to do an illustrated book, and I thought Valley of the Worm is just so rich with stuff like creatures.
Well, I mean, it's very descriptive in some places, and then in others it's very vague, and I'm like, but it also made, and this is weird, but as I'm reading it, I'm like, okay. So, this is very much a Conan feel to it also because of the way it kind of makes you laugh. Like, he's like, we wouldn't yet not even think of showing mercy, but then every once in a while, I just felt like it was funny that his head didn't fall off, when I hit him with this thing. I marveled at let him go and let him live.
Right. Well, I like that too, Jim, because it's talking about things like concepts of like, we weren't cruel to be cruel. We finished our enemies.
Torture.
He's like, the day I live in now is much crueler than then.
Right.
We finished off our enemies so they couldn't come back to kill us.
Yeah.
Whereas people, we didn't torture, we didn't maim,
Right. And he says that pretty much. I mean, it's like, when I let him go and he left and he went to hunt, he was like, but I always was, keeping my eye around in case he came back to take me out.
Well, and I like too that it's the most unlikely of friendships, right? Like,
right.
Like him letting that one guy live brought the two tribes together.
Right.
Yep. But then what's cool too is you could tell, like, especially in a story like this, all the history that Robert E. Howard knew, because he draws in all these different elements in his tales, right? And in this one, you have Njord and his people, like as they grow up, they separate and they go their own ways to spread their tribe out, which leads to the Valley of the Worm and him having to, him deciding that he's going to take out this threat that no one's ever been able to do.
Yeah.
Groups of people. And he's got to come up with this master plan. And in this story, you get you get 2 great battles. Now in the comic, you get 3 great battles because in the book, in the story, they hint at the saber-toothed tiger fight, and they go, "Oh, that's a tale of its own."
Yeah,
you see it in the comic.
Yeah,
right.
And then you see the fight with Satha, the great snake.
That's cool.
They talk about it in the book that he took down and saber-toothed tiger, and he was, he had been hurt from it. I mean,
no one expected him to live.
He had to, let his wounds heal, and that's when he came out and realized, damn, these people have left.
But he comes out of it, and he's basically kind of almost like the atmospheric feeling I got is he comes out of this injury after being the slayer of the saber-tooth, and he's kind of heralded as like the man,
right?
Like he's
because he's the only person that had ever slew one single-handedly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. It's just so rich with all that stuff, and then at that point, the movie basically becomes Rambo. You know what I mean? Like with the arrows and the it's just honestly, I'm telling you, like I have a lot of favorite records, and this audiobook, as cheesy as it is, it's an hour long, just visual. I don't know, like a warm blanket being kind of laid on me in this cold studio while I'm figuring out what the worm looks like, or the one that's
it's a badass tale. I mean, this guy, he's badass, right?
Yeah.
He befriends this guy. He honors the guy, but at the same time, he won't be held back by his friendship with him. And when he feels like he's got to take action against something, he does it.
He does it, yeah.
What I like in the descriptions in Howard's tale here is that Njord never talks down about Grom. He's like, he was so courageous that this is something that's bred into his people to be deathly scared of this valley and never enter it. And when he saw that I was in peril,
he came.
He had courage enough to come forward.
Yeah.
Overriding everything that his ancestry put in him to not do that.
Right. Well, I mean, it's true. When he went into the valley, realized, and I like that they point that out, that he said, I've seen death, I've seen horror, I've been in battles where blood, flows like the water, but this stopped him for a minute, and he was like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then, he's looking out at the worm's, imprint, and he's wondering if it came from the lake or whatever. And, here comes Grom, and he's just like, hey man, you can't be here. We got to go.
Yeah. Because he had went to check on his friend Bragi,
right?
And his other clansfolk that had moved there to start their own clan,
and they're just
all been decimated. It was just parts of their body all over the place.
And that's what when I was reading it, I was like, holy cow! There's a foot, there's a head, and I'm visualizing this whole thing as I'm reading it.
That's what I mean. It's just so visual. It just fills my head.
But that's what makes a great book. It's like, and I get what you're saying, and I have no idea who did the voice of, from the audio, but that can kill a book if it's done by the wrong person.
It can.
I mean, imagine Pee Wee Herman doing the voice of this. That would be hilarious. But
it's funny. The great worm had to go down.
Yeah, exactly.
Total side note, I've been listening to the audiobook of because I'm lazy, guys. That's just what it is. I'm listening to the audiobook of the Gail Simone Red Sonja, and because it's narrated by Felicia, I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But because it's Felicia,
I read that book. It's great.
Yeah. Felicia Day's the narrator, so she does all the voices. And so when she's doing the bad guy voices, it just sounds like Jimbo Jones and the gang from Simpsons. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds like the Teenage Boy Monster Club.
Right.
Like, it's very funny. But anyway, that's a total side note. Yeah, a narrator is a good narrator is key on these books. This guy is good, but when he speaks as Njord, he speaks with an accent, and it just plummets into cheesy town. Like it's
right.
It's
but otherwise, it's great.
Right.
But circling back though, that's what makes this, for me, I've read books before, and after I'm reading them or as I'm reading them, like, oh my gosh, I have the movie played out in my head already. Yep. And I want James Earl Jones to play this, and I want this guy to play this, and I'm like, this is amazing. Why isn't this a movie already? And
I can't believe this hasn't been adapted more often in comics. The story is so strong.
I feel like pieces of it have been. Like, I honestly feel like even the scene with the death of Satha, it almost kind of feels a little bit like in Conan the Barbarian where he kills the snake in the pit, in 1982. Like it's got, and that happens in the Conan story too, of course. But because of the scale of the snake, it's exactly how I kind of picture the head coming off and everything that happens. And
we're talking about the vagueness too, and the brilliance of Howard was he knew when to be descriptive and he knew when to leave it up to your mind to fill in the rest. He knew how to balance it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. When he's describing the lair of the worm, and in my head, I'm kind of panning in and zooming closer to this. You got the cliffs up here, you got the trees, you've got these things coming out of the trees, these pillars, and you're zooming in. And then he describes, it's 600 meters from there was a huge dome, and that dome is all skeletal from its decay, and it's wrapped in vines. And this thing, as I'm zooming in, is suddenly too big for my field of vision, and I have to zoom out again. And I have to rebuild this thing in my head and zoom in again and go, what did this temple look like? Same thing with the creature. And the one that's got me stumped is the piper. The amorphous, the anthropomorphic piper that comes out to play the worm into the surface. Like, he's described.
No description about what kind of creature this is.
He's described, but he's not described. Like, he's kind of like he's shaggy, but shaggiest where his face is, but there is no face. There's just two eyes, and somehow it's playing this bizarre set of pipes. And man, that is just gold.
I will not show you because I don't want it to influence you art. Until you draw the piper, do not read this book because I like what Gil Kane did with him. But then you'll never be able to get it out of your head until you're done.
And this is the problem. This is why I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to see that comic book until I'm done. But here's the thing. I don't know if this is ever going to happen. I'm just exploring. I'm basically filling a sketchbook until I see something begin to emerge that goes, yep, that's a shot in the story that I could do. If I could break it into if I could release it as a prose version that had say 12 or 20 illustrated plates in there depicting scenes, I would love that. That would be like a fun project to do, and it would give me a chance to showcase what I like most about the industry that I'm in, the kind of stuff.
Now, you know what they do, which might be a cool avenue for you, although it wouldn't be a physical copy, but Heroic Publishing with Titan does digital novels. I get them all on my Kindle. They do Conan, Solomon Kane. They're all 40 to 80 pages. They're fantastic. They Valeria,
that's good.
and they're great reads. But I wonder if they would ever do something like that with art in it as well.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Yeah, it's kind of been like festering in my head as a project. I've been trying to look. This past year, I've just been trying to figure out what the next thing that I want to work on is. And then it never occurred to me to adapt something that might be in public domain. And I thought, well, I don't even know how that works with the better known properties, how that actually works. Because I don't think you can just go willy-nilly and do stuff. I mean, maybe you can, but I wouldn't want to. I would like to do it properly if I was going to do it. So I think I'm just going to fill a sketchbook. I'm going to listen to this thing once a week or something like that as an old record that I play, and I'm going to draw and work out different stuff as it comes. Because the more I read it and the more I listen to it, the more tight the vision becomes, and I'm really enjoying that process as a new way of creating a thing, or working on a thing. So,
now, for each of you, what was your favorite moment? We'll start with you, Mike. What was your favorite moment in this story?
Oh man, that's tough. Honestly, I think I don't want to say the climax, but it's the, that classic final heroic dive when he's on top of this pillar and he's already put his 10 arrows into this thing and it's thrashing around and it hits the base of the post that he's on, and he comes as the pillar shatters, he's already leaping. He's already got his sword out and he's coming down. He's got one shot left to do something to this thing. And and then, the story doesn't have a happy ending, which is kind of another part of it that makes it amazing, but it's got an amazing ending. And
it's weird though, because it kind of does and it kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
And the thing about this too is he defeats two beasts in this story that no one else was able to defeat, even with a group of people. With Satha being the first one, he's got to defeat Satha to get the poison sacs in the glands of that giant snake, which they describe as a snake that like the myth of Set and everything else was based on later, right? So he ties this whole story into all these myths, like the story of Beowulf or St. George and all these other characters. And that this is the original tale that all these tales are based on in this history. And it really makes it grand.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. That's what's so beautiful about it. It's and the character of James Allison now really fascinates me. So the next thing I'm going to acquire is Garden of Fear, I believe it's called, and that's another James Allison that I'm curious about. It's a shorter story even, so I kind of want to check that out. I really can't believe how much stuff there is out there of his that I've yet to read. I thought I had I didn't know it stretched much further than Conan and Solomon Kane until just the past few years, and now I'm just kind of like,
oh, dude, you gotta read things like The People, the Black Circle. There's so much good stuff.
Oh yeah, no, that stuff's amazing. Yeah,
dude, he's got a lot of great horror, which is good.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, what was your favorite part of the story?
I don't think I have one favorite part. I mean, just because this is my first time reading it, there are just different parts that as I was reading, it either made me chuckle or it made me go, wow, and like, Mike was saying at the end, I'm just going, oh my God. As I'm reading, I'm like, oh my God. Is this going to happen? And you're like, okay.
Well, and the way he paints the Ord in the story too, right? I mean, this guy is not afraid to die.
No, he's not. But there's a pet.
But neither is anyone in his tribe. They're there, and their life is harsh.
Right, and he says
they live a hard life, but they live a life with honor. They don't hurt each other because they're part of the same clan. They don't, and they even he describes it in the story that they don't raise hands against each other ever.
Right. No, that's why he was going to visit them to begin with to see how they were doing.
Right.
But I love here where he's now coming to the rationalization that I have to do something. I can't let this go. Mm-hmm. He's destroyed my clansmen. I'm not gonna let this go. And he says, I Nord was not one to use my brain over much. I lived in a physical world, and there were the old men of the tribe to do my thinking. Yeah. But he's telling you, look, I'm a doer. I go out and get it done. But he's also smart enough to know he can't do it alone, because further down he goes and says, Grom has to aid me. I need Grom to aid me in building this, to get to, building these ropes and poles and all this stuff so that he can get things ready.
Well, and he even Grom even risked his life with him.
Right.
To gather the remains of his tribe and burn them and give them their proper burial.
Right.
Yeah. The grisly duty. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And then even hunting Satha, he says he's not a great thinker, but he knows he can't just go take on this worm. He needs an edge. And the edge is the poison he gets from Satha. But getting that poison from Satha, he's got to have a plan.
And then, the way he describes the death or the demise of the worm, to my mind, the way it's constantly shifting in and out of color, and then, it kind of staggers to the edge of the pit, and then it, a hideous transmutation happens that goes beyond his ability to describe what happens. Right. Like, to me, it just sounds like like in a video game, like when you're at the boss is starting to vibrate before he finally explodes after you defeat him. You get like they start flashing red, and then they get it just felt like that. Like, it visually looked like that in my head while I was reading it. It's just
right. And for me, like when he's describing all the different colors, to me it just gave me this vision of the poison coursing through this worm's body. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just like destroying the flesh and the insides.
Right.
Yeah, so good.
Right. So he basically used like one thing that was considered a god to kill something else that was considered a god.
And he did it on the same day.
Yes.
It's like that's just a day's work when you're in your worm slayer, wormbane. Like,
and it's remarkable, like as popular as the tale Beowulf is, like a tale like this wouldn't gain that same type of popularity, right?
Right. It's true. Right. Yeah.
Because this should be as popular as the Beowulf tale.
I think so. Yeah, and then Beowulf is, again, it's part of that. It's part of that chain of stories. It's all the same story, right? Like it's funny to have him reference a story that Beowulf is probably the first story that's like that. Honestly, and you also have Gilgamesh, where you have again your main character and a friend, like a wild man in the woods kind of thing. Like that is a fairly consistent thing that happens. Even in Thundar the Barbarian, you have Ukla the Mock. You have
you have Ariel.
You got to have the bestial, co-star. So, yeah,
that's cool.
Now,
you said you have been doing a notebook of this.
I have been. Yeah, let me.
Did you want to share any of your images and talk about?
Yeah,
about what inspired them?
I'll share some of the doodles here. Let me just switch my camera to my other camera. Point it at the right place. Move my task list aside here. Sorry, my drawing table is quite the mess.
Well, I figure we're about a half hour. We're a half hour in now. We should probably look at some of your art.
Sure, man.
Last time we talked so much, we forgot about the art.
Well, one day we'll do a show where I just draw the whole time too. But
right.
when I was doing the Fang and Spear story, I filled a sketchbook with all of the little vignettes and notes that before I started drawing the pages. Like I wanted to make sure I knew. Is that showing up okay? I wanted to make sure I knew what he looked like, and I wanted to make sure I knew how she was dressed, what the setting looked like. So I always, this is a process that I've been doing for a while. I just basically fill a cheap sketchbook with really quick sketches to get all the energy that I want from the different scenes. So I tried to do the same thing with this one, and I won't share all of it. I'll share some of the things that came out of today, though, because it's sort of evolving as I go. But I was just thinking about scale, and I was thinking about Njord and Grom and how they would be differently sized. Like I really do see Grom as the crouching Pict on the rock at the opening scene of the, in Conan when the raiders are coming to Conan's village. Like that dude that crouches on the rock. To me, that is Grom.
Right.
So it's hard to shake that kind of thing. He's got a knobby-headed cudgel. He's dripping with brains. So I was just drawing these quick, the women of the tribe would smash them with a rock, this type of thing. If these are just quick doodles, right? But trying to figure out what Grom looks like, how he might compare to, let me see here, how he might compare to Njord, in terms of size, and trying to get some expressions, square-headed, pointy chin on Grom, curly hair like a hobbit, almost kind of black, stringy hair, and then the worm started to sort of take shape, and I really do see it kind of like more like a Lovecraftian kind of worm, like an actual slug that's got the elephant trunk kind of deal, and crazy moth with the teeth, and so a couple more shots of Grom here that I've just been messing.
And Howard and H.P. Lovecraft were good friends, so
for sure they were like
influence each other.
Then I started thinking about the worm, and I was trying to think about what the pipes might look like, and just different stuff.
Yeah, that's cool as hell.
So, and I'm trying to figure out what the piper looks like. Kind of a shaggy, animal-like amorphous thing with no face. So I immediately started to think of that Warner Brothers character Gossamer. The orange.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Something
I love
like
them
that.
And hug them and keep them warm.
Something like that, And then I took another crack at the worm here, where I really wanted to have,
that's amazing.
See, now that looks pretty good. I mean, that looks like what I would envision it to be as well. I mean, just based on the description that they kind of give you, but
like 40 eyes and in a circle, and I was like, that's just gross. And then the mouth, I didn't want it to look like teeth necessarily, but I wanted to feel like it could just grab you and pull you in. And then again, I'm still moving around with the Piper guy, but maybe a face, something like that, just to really. Where am I now?
I mean, just like he described too, erect like a human, but a face covered in fur. You could only see his eyes.
Yeah, and then just kind of some wild. He talks about it being so far away in history that it maybe that the landscape doesn't look. There's no landmarks for him to remember where he is on Earth as he's recalling these stories. So, you can kind of start to think about,
and that was a great descriptive part of the story too, right? When he's like, the way that the rivers have changed course, the glaciers have come, have risen and fallen, and the valleys have come and gone, and
it's kind of it's just anyway. I've really been enjoying the whole experience, and I'm enjoying. It's funny, like when you do this for a living and you're drawing for a deadline or you're drawing for someone else. Rare are the opportunities where you get to actually do something for yourself. And sometimes you pray for those opportunities to come along, and then they do, and you can't think about what to do because you've got too many ideas. So, so this Valley of the Worm experiment for me has been a way to kind of focus and stay on point with, developing what the creatures might look like, and then really starting to think about big compositions if I was going to do it. And series of illustrated plates. But I would really love to do an illustrated fight between when the fight with Njord and Gorm, or Njord and Grom, where they're where he knocks him out with a cudgel, and he remarks how hard the Pict's head is. Like,
right,
there's a couple of pages of art right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, and he doesn't even kill him because he's just amazed at how tough. He's like, this guy's just tough. I'm gonna let him live.
He comes back and he's like, holy God, he's still alive. And there's a little girl about to smash him. He's like, no. Let's this one lives. This one's entertaining. This
This one
is so hard.
Did you see the blow he just took? And he's still going. Look,
he's still going.
We're gonna give him some slack, yeah.
But it's funny. Like I always think it made me think too of my older brother, who's a bit of a brawler when we were young. And he would always be out drinking with the guy that he clobbered. Like they'd get into some brutal street fight, and then next thing you know, they're tearing up a club together, and they're drinking and being
having a good old time.
Yeah, it's like they had to fight first to see if they're worthy of each other's company.
That'll do. Let's go have a drink.
That's it.
Seems you're made of tough stuff. I like you. Let's go have a beer.
Your head is hard.
Yeah,
I can still feel the vibration in my bones from when I hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just beautiful stuff, though. So I'm really, I've just been enjoying the process, and now I have to find the comic book, but I will wait until I have my Piper figured out before I go there. Plus, I haven't had to hunt a comic in a long time. I don't really. I kind of gave up the chase on comics a long time ago, but now if I see stuff, it's like, oh, I've got to have one.
Well, I think Supernatural Thrillers is definitely one you want to have. That Supernatural Thrillers issue 3, The Valley of the Worm is such a good adaptation, and that was at a point in time where Marvel was just nailing adaptations, especially when Roy Thomas was doing them. And I've seen a lot of people give Thomas flack. Oh, all he did was adapt. Adapting's hard. People adapt all the time and completely screw up the source material when they adapt it.
Well, yeah, and I'll be honest, Gary, when I found out this comic even existed, my first thought was, oh, they've just done a Conan, they just swapped Conan in for Njord. But no,
and it doesn't, when you read the comic, just like the story, it doesn't feel like Conan.
Right.
It's a warrior.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, it's just another. No, they're different. And what I like about this too, and we talked about it earlier, right? With he says, look, I'm not the biggest thinker of my clan. He goes, but he could plan things out, and he came up with a great elaborate plan.
Right.
But the thing with Howard's characters, none of them are just stupid.
Yeah.
They have a good sense of what's going on around them. They know how to read their environment in their room. They know how to read what's going on any place they're given, and they know how to think their way out of situations or set it up so they have the best opportunity. Now we were talking about towards the end of the book, right? And it has kind of that bleak ending. He's the hero. He knows he puts his war paint on in case he's going to meet his death, and he does all his prayers and he does his ritual, and he goes to fight this worm because it can't. He just doesn't want it to kill anyone else of his clan or anything else. It needs to die. And the way that Howard's describing the worm too, right? Just like he described the saber-tooth. This creature is an anomaly. It's something that Mother Nature needs to get rid of. It's too powerful, and it doesn't need to exist. And Mother Nature finds a way. This way was through the poison of Sath, but both of these creatures had to die in this tale. Njord's the vessel which does it, and he does it very smart with a plan, but he also knows that he's probably not going to survive it.
Right.
And he has a warrior's death. He wanted it to be while he was hacking and slashing. It tossed him, broke his back. Grom comes to him and gives him his sword and to die with. And when they erect this cairn and let this be, it even says if the ghost of this worm returns, my ghost will be here to fight it every time.
It's so great.
Which is just great.
Yeah.
Now and then it goes, and there I died in the valley of the worm.
Yeah.
And that's how the story closed. But what they do, they had one panel in the comic, which makes all the difference in the adaptation. And it's a brilliant panel in a brilliant addition. So after that, it shows him broken with Rom giving him his sword, and he's lying there dead. The next panel is a little thin panel, and it's of James Allison in his bed passing away after he tells the tale. And it gives it this
he just closes the circle.
Right, it's like closure, full circle effect. He told the tale of his greatest victory of all his many lives.
Yeah. Well, it's when Njord realizes his back is broken, he realizes that because he tries to get up and charge back into the fight.
Right.
He can't move the sword because he's done. He's like, that's his last thought, is to get back up and keep going, and he can't. His back is broken and he's done. And it's just like, wow. And the realization of that, but he's like, but I can still see the monster. I can still see it, and he's able to so in my head, he's smashed against trees and he's kind of propped up on some roots, and he's got one staring eye that's looking towards the monster. Like, oh yeah, man. And
in my defeat, I have defeated the beast.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
and then he gets the pleasure of watching it die as before he dies.
Right, that's what I was saying.
Tumbling down the hole,
he's watching it die, because the venom finally does take and do its job, but it was
the worm grabs the Piper as it's dying and whips it into the rocks and smashes it into pulp. It's just incredible. And then the pipes finally die. The pipes finally quit.
Well, that was cool too. Part of the mysticism and supernatural that Howard was so brilliant in weaving into his tales. It's a very small part of that story, but it's important and it adds to it.
Yep, absolutely. It's such a rich little detail.
And I like that he doesn't, not everything needs an origin. You don't know where the worm came from. You don't know where that little Pied Piper came from. You don't need to know. They exist. They're there. They have to be dealt with.
They're even older than Njord. They're even older than the Picts. There's something else. Right. There's something from the old ones. They even, they
just like Satha, where they're talking about, Satha's from a time before men.
Yeah. Right. Satha becomes the prototype for the devil. Becomes the prototype for the evil god, the enemy in every religious, suggested religious, thing afterwards, right?
And just the way he ties his lore and all other lores is amazing.
Oh, it's just beautiful. Yeah, it's good stuff, and it feels like it fits. It feels like, yep, I can see that. Even though Set in Egyptian mythology, if I'm not mistaken, isn't heavily. It does have some snake aspects to it, but I don't know if the Egyptian god Set is particularly a snake. I could be wrong. I know it is in Robert E. Howard's version, but
right,
yeah.
No, but it is great the way he ties all these different mythologies together.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah,
I've only had 91 years to catch up. But it is one of the most. And there's a couple horror. I got to look through the book, and I'll send you a few suggestions that I think you'll really get a kick out of as far as Howard reading goes.
Sure.
Which really might fire your imagination to a darker place.
Yeah, no, that's good.
he has got some great tales, and even other great comic adaptations that people forget about. And but this one I was excited to talk about just because it is just an outstanding piece of work. And if this is your first time reading anything with James Allison, and it's a great introduction to the character of James Allison.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
And every time you read a James Allison story, it's him telling a story of a past life of his.
Yeah.
That's his gimmick. That's his character. And yet he's written as a contemporary of Robert E. Howard's, right? Like he's a real dude that it's pretty awesome. Yeah. That's fantastic.
And see, I'd never read any of this, so I'm reading it going, what has Gary got me reading now? I mean,
now is this your first Robert E. Howard story you've ever truly read, Jim?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Now, what'd you think about the prose? Because I know that the time period of the prose sometimes can throw people, but I think Howard reads really easy and really fluently.
Yeah, I mean, he's very descriptive about that, some of this part as well, where he talks in depth about the clan and description of who they are and where they come from and what they do and how they never stay in one place. I specifically remember them when they go and they end up settling with the Picts, and they're like, but it won't matter because we won't be here long enough. We're never going to mate together because we don't like the looks of each other, and that's fine because we're not going to be here long enough. And sure enough, a couple of pages later, they're off. He's recovering from his wounds, and what were they? The Baragi.
Yeah, Bragi's people are.
Bragi's people leave, which is exactly what he says they do. The younger ones get older, and then they go.
Yep.
And they're never in
their own clans.
Right, to start their own clans, which makes them stronger as a whole.
Yep.
But he even talks like further down in timelines, all these cultures that go splinter off from each other and start their own clans end up fighting each other anyway.
Right. Yeah, he did. He does that. That is one thing I was like, oh yeah, that's true.
Right.
But yeah, it's the couple of paragraphs there where he's going through all the different people that James Allison is, all the different names. But then he constantly has to catch himself. Now, let me tell you about New York, because there's all these 30 guys I just named. But we got to stop here, and I got to pause here for a minute and talk about New York.
Yes, but this is not the story I'm telling today.
Right.
Correct. I was Arlick and his Goths when he flamed burning villas. He talks about Leif the Lucky. I pillaged, I was in England in the blood and pillage when Leif the Lucky sighted the broad white beaches of the unguessed world. So he's talking about all the places he's been. He was with the Crusaders over in Jerusalem, but that's not what he's going to talk about today. We're going to talk about this. We're going to
talk about New York. This is going way back.
And the word, this is the story, his story. So I like it. And I'm going to read more. It's, if you hang around with Gary, you just get it eventually. It's forced upon you. You have to learn this.
My first exposure to Sailor Steve was actually in that Savage Sword story that I had my story.
Steve Costigan?
Yeah, and I knew he existed, but I didn't know there were so many books about him. He had written so many stories about this guy.
Bran McMorn too, who's a Pict. What's cool about Howard too is the Picts are the only race that is constantly drastically changing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Sometimes they're the bad guys, sometimes they're the kings and the good guys.
Yep.
But every era, and that's the race that is just always evolving or devolving in Howard fiction, depending on what they've been subjected to.
Well, then Grom is obviously of that lower caste of idea of Pict, because he's described as being, having the almost like tusk-like teeth, and he's sort of squat and short, and, more Neanderthalic, in a way, like Neanderthal-like, I guess. But
Now, I think one you'll get a kick out of, if I were to recommend one for your next read, would be The Black Stone.
Okay, yeah. Is that a horror one?
Well, yeah, there's horror elements. It's a good little read, and it's different, and it's got it's got its own unique feel, which I think you'll get again, not overly long. I think like 15 to 20 pages. Really good though.
Oh, cool. I love it. Yeah, his horror stuff is great. Even the little bits you get in Conan, like Scarlet Citadel, there's some stuff in that prison area.
That's the best, when he mixes the horror with the supernatural and the warrior. It works all so well.
Yeah, it's just so rich. It's just amazing.
And I'm happy we got to get Jim to read his first Robert E. Howard tale. That was,
I must have left that stuff downstairs.
And then, but it's a road, right? Because once you read your first Howard, you want to read more.
Oh yeah, no, I'm kind of on a little quest now. We got a used bookstore that deals with it does you can trade books in, and it's nice little used bookstore. Anyway, you can go and get books, and I'm always checking their old paperback section. I have a nice collection of the El Sprague de Camp stuff and all that, those books, but I don't have all of them, but I got about 8 of them.
Oh yeah, him and Lynn Carter and stuff.
Yeah. And some of them are okay, and some of them are but they're fun. I enjoy it all. It's all good. It's all good content,
Oh, there's a ton that have Lovecraftian influences on him. Him and Lovecraft were friends. They both influenced each other, but there's a lot of Robert E. Howard that has Lovecraftian influences on.
Oh yeah. Well, Valley of the Worm, frankly, there's some. Yeah. He makes mention of the old ones that are existed even before this, and that's clearly a nod to
to Lovecraft.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess they were pen pals or whatever. They existed at the same time, and they traded ideas. And I think I believe there's some Stygian ring carryover between their works.
Yeah, and they knowingly borrowed from each other and let each other be influenced by each other.
They
had incredible discussions from what history says.
For sure. Yeah. No, and it's so foundational to everything that we're enjoying in this genre now, right? Like it's the base blocks.
And the cool thing too, like he's never read any Howard, but
read some.
You can get collections of Howard if you want to take a dip. You can get collections digitally for 99 cents.
Yep. Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get on the Kindle and I'll look for some
I have all these hardcovers and I have a couple leather. I have all these adaptations of Howard stuff, which I just love. But one series I would recommend if you want to dip into Howard, again, is this Ballantine book series.
Okay.
It hasn't been published in a while, but you can still get them on eBay and online. This collects them in a very readable way. There's some art throughout, which is fun. But you can get just the Conan stories. You also have Crimson Shadows, which is a mix of everything: horror, Conan, Cull, Solomon Kane, Bran McMorn. You can get just the what were called the Oriental stories, which was great. You can get you can just get everything. There's some of the horror stories he wrote were just absolutely amazing, and just the atmosphere that he puts into them is absolutely incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've just been enjoying. I have a collection of Conan books on audiobook that I got a couple of years ago. My mother-in-law got me like an Audible gift where I could get a new credit each month. So I grabbed these books because I'm always got my hands busy and I never get any time to read. So it's lazy as heck, but it's something nice about having a story read to you even in your 50s. But anyway, there's a lot of it. I got a whole big collection of Conan stuff. One that really, again, speaking to the horror stuff, is the Pool of the Black Ones. Like that one's got some crazy twisted stuff in it. It's a short little story, but it's like, whoa, this thing is pretty dark. Like it's just like mind bending a little bit, you know. There's some really, really wonderful stuff there.
It's good stuff.
I did the same thing when I used to have to drive years ago. I used to leave here and get up in the morning and have to drive a good ways to work. And so I went to the library and got the entire, I got all of it on tape because I had a little old pickup truck that had a tape player.
Nice.
And it was Stephen King's Dreamcatcher.
Oh, cool.
Because I'd been reading Stephen King, but I was like, there's no way. I'm driving so much, and I feel like by the time I get home, I don't want to pick up a book and start reading because I'll get tired and want to go to bed, and I have things to do. So I would put in that tape and just, where I had to go, there was a lot of, it's just log jam as far as traffic. So I knew I was going to be in traffic. At least I could listen to something good. And then occasionally you'd have to go, wait a minute, I have to back up.
Well,
I didn't catch that.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I find the same thing when I'm drawing too. Like I'll be like, hold on, wait, they shifted. Now we're in a different town. I gotta back it up 5
Right. Let me back up and see what happened here. And that's okay because you know what? It's good background, to having you absorb it. I absorbed the story, even though it was driving. Once you start driving a same place over and over, it's like you just
you gotta do things to keep yourself awake and
muscle memory. The driving is almost muscle memory, and audiobook won't break your concentration too much.
Correct. So it was. I don't really remember who the person that did it, but he did a really good job as far as doing the audio reading of it.
Some of them
it wasn't
quite a
campy.
Production, yeah.
Now I will shout out one more time though. To pick up Mike Roos.
I'm going tomorrow. I gotta get my I think there's a Space Ghost coming out and
his Vampirella cover.
There's a book coming out called Digger. So I have to get
that.
You gotta
get that right?
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is, but I'm gonna get it and read it anyway because it has
the happiest snowman on the planet right there.
So, they always have Dynamite stuff out there. I'm gonna say, hey, you got this snowman one? I'm going to send it to this guy. I'm getting his signature on it.
Absolutely. Jerry says great cover. Now, since we're hitting the hour mark, we'll start wrapping up. Yep. And but Mike, first of all, I hope you'll come back on the channel some more. It's always a pleasure, dude.
Anytime, man. But like I said, we'll do an art session one day where they don't have to look at my face in the dark here because I got terrible light, but my drawing surface is really well lit. So we'll do a Conan drawing or something like that next time while we chat. That'd be fun.
Ooh, sounds good.
We gotta get him on Roscoe's too.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, a Conan. Oh, how about? Oh my gosh. You know what? I'd love to see. There's two versions of this. Two women I'd like to see you do versions of.
Okay.
I'd love to see your Brissa.
Oh yeah, yep.
And I'd love to see your Princess Ariel from Thundar.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't drawn Ariel yet, although I have a whole sketchbook full of Thundar ideas. Man, you couldn't imagine how hard I tried to get a gig doing the
cover.
The Barbarian. Oh my God. I would try every road I could get. I had a couple of retailers piled up to see if they could team up to do a book, but it's just the mathematics wasn't there to support it. But luckily it turned into some other stuff though. So I'm working on
and who knows, they could have more series of Thundar coming out in the future.
Well,
I got the cover A. I thought it was great.
Yeah, cover A is Michael Cho. Yeah, he does. He really nailed that look for sure.
He did, because he captured the essence of the cartoon with that.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's the key with these characters. You need to. I think some of them try to go too hardcore and too real, and you lose the spirit of it. It just becomes a.
Yeah, I actually like this the interior artwork and everything better than I did on the Hercules.
And I didn't know this guy Kuber Ball before this.
I wasn't.
His art was great. It fits the world perfectly.
Really solid. Yeah, I thought it was great. Yeah, so
check out my review. I made one on Saturday, so I'll be watching. I also did a review on the Conan Tower of the Elephant book as well.
Oh, cool. Right on. I'll have to check that out.
So those are on my Savage Saturdays playlist.
Sweet.
I'm mostly telling them out there, the people watching. Mike's like, damn, Gary gave me homework. I was a guest.
No, it's been the most enjoyable kind of homework though. It's really been. You really put a bug in my head last time, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then, my wife actually found me the copyright information about it because she's like, this could be something you might want to do. It might be a fun thing. I mean, I've known people who've illustrated their own version of Bram Stoker's Dracula and Frankenstein and released their own printed book, word for word, unabridged, however it was released, with their own illustrations and stuff. And there's some really nice productions out there. Well, I've made some pretty nice things over the course of my life, just little personal projects that I feel like I could do something really special with this.
And I've seen people publish Conan Tales, and it was famously published Conan Tales over here in the States.
Right.
They just don't call the book Conan.
Right.
Now he's called Conan in the story. There's just Conan's not in the title.
Well, it's like the Ablaze doing the doing the Sumerian story, right? And I was surprised they have another one coming out this year. So,
when I was talking about adaptations that don't work, that was my main people I was talking about. Yeah. They changed the key elements of the story, which you don't do when you adapt.
The artwork in some of those are pretty amazing, especially the ones that are reproduced, like the English translated versions from the Glenat Publishing in France.
Right.
But those stories do take liberties, man. And even their Red Nails was a little different. And
the Red Nails is the one I was most mad at because it changed two key elements in it, which I'm like, these are pivotal in the story. Why would you change them?
Yep, absolutely. No, I agree.
It made no sense, especially when you're putting the thing I liked is that they're putting the original story in the back, but you're putting the original story in the back and then slapping us in the face by taking away this moment, which is a key moment for the main character, and you just got rid of it and gave it to someone else, which makes no sense.
It's really weird, man. It's a really weird thing. Yeah, I don't know. It is neat that they had the source material, but it didn't work. I got to do some covers though, so I didn't mind. I was just happy.
Nice.
But, hey, he got paid. He needed to get some money.
Now let's do we're doing. Mike, is anything coming up for you? Any other appearances anywhere coming up, or anything you'd like to shout out?
Yeah.
Also, Ken Wheaton told me to say he'll see you in a month.
Oh, right on. Yes, I'll see Ken next month in Toronto at the Toronto Comic Con.
And I had to he goes, why you don't get Vim Pro? Why are you getting that? I'm like, Mike Ruth did it. And he goes, oh, he did? I'm like, yeah.
Let me get one so I can get him to sign
it. So I threw a little guilt in there for you on him.
Oh, that's great though. No, I always love to see Ken. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, he's done some nice covers too, man. Ken's done some beautiful stuff. Like his Flash Gordon stuff was a lot of fun. Different style for him because most of the time I think people get him to draw Simpson stuff when he's up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he's most well known for.
But the dude can draw anything. Like he's really, really skilled artist.
His portrait stuff is really nice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, really good.
But Mike, it's about you. What's coming up for you?
Great. So Toronto Comic Con. Trying to think what else I've got going on. I'll probably be in Montreal in July. There's the Toronto Comic Art Festival, which happens in June, which I'm waiting to see if I'm going to that. That's a pretty big show up here in Toronto. I might be having my first international show outside of North America, which is really weird. I've never left North America before, and I'm going a very, very, very far distance to this show. So I'm a little freaked out about it because I don't like flying, and this is a 20-hour flight each way. I don't want to reveal too much yet until it's announced, but so that's
so relaxing.
I'm going to bring lots of Robert E. Howard audiobooks with me, though, to pass that time.
You're going to wake up savage.
Oh, yeah. No, that's how honestly, I hate flying. And I think I did a 5-hour flight to Portland, Oregon. And I had something like Elric or something, and Michael Moorcock or something like that playing the whole time. But it was a nice way to pass the time because it was tough. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, my wife's not a big flyer, and we went to we set up this whole vacation to go to Brazil, and I'm like, you realize that's 14 hours, right? Yeah. She goes, that's what drugs are for. Leave me alone. Yeah, sure enough, man.
My wife said that's what whiskey's for, man.
Right. She popped I don't know what she popped, but she was out. I looked at my son, I was like, well, she's done.
That's kind of amazing though. I like that. That's how you do it.
Now what's coming up for you, Jim?
I just dropped, if everybody could go back and watch the video I just dropped on Sunday. It's the community artist shout out. I shouted out Izzy. Izzy did all 3 of these slabs up here. So it's like a Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, and Batman one. Crap. Batman.
Batman taking a crap?
Yeah, I can't. It's not. It's it's Batman? the Batman, the future one. The
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond. Thank you, Batman. Terry McGinnis. He did that one, but I just spotlighted all the artwork that I bought from Izzy over the period, and I plan. I have some other ones that I pulled from the community that I'm gonna do another spotlight video on, but I'll be coupling them together because I don't have as much stuff from everyone. He had enough to cover a whole video. So yeah, I'll do that video and drop that. And then, fingers crossed that we warm up and the snow goes away because I'm getting the itch. I need to go digging. I just can't stand it. I need to get my shovel in the ground.
Now, coming up for me in 2 nights' time, we have Paul from the 619 on for the first time. That'll be nice on his 1011. Then on the 17th, confirmed tonight, because I always leave like 1 day open to try to get someone new. I had left the 17th open this month, but I filled that tonight. We're gonna have archivist the Drift on Jason, who has joined us tonight in the chat. So he'll be on for the first time. So it'll be great to meet him. Because I one of the things I love about this channel is that I get to meet new people through it and doing these shows. And then after him, on the 19th, we have Warlord on for his second show.
Okay.
The 24th, we have James King, Parasinoscopic, coming on, who is a great horror photographer and just has a great collection of stuff. So a lot of first-timers on this month. And the 26th, another first timer, Randy Comics.
Yeah, Randy from Swarma Comics. All right.
Yep. So we got a lot of new ones coming on, and you can also catch me on the 20th and the 27th on One Collection Down Fables channel, where I'll be talking one night about They Live and another night about another one of my favorite movies. Actually, my favorite James Cameron movie, The Abyss.
Oh, they should let me get on there. I can do They Live.
They Live is one of my favorite John Carpenter's. I mean, nothing's better than The Thing. But
right.
That's the number one.
Yeah, but They Live is up there.
Talking of the Fable, man. He needs to let me on that.
Well, I told Fable exclusive. Look, if I'm on, you can't invite Jim.
Yeah, that's some BS.
I get enough
I
of
know
that
it.
guy.
I'm like, come on, Fable. You don't want that second-rate hack. Put me on there. I talk they live for hours. I got chew bubble gum and I'm going to kick some ass.
But of course, first I want to thank my co-host Jim. Thanks for being here again, bud. You've been helping me out a lot lately, and I appreciate it.
Right on.
And of course, our guest Mike. Always a pleasure, man. I can't wait to have you on the show more and talk more and see more of your art. That stuff was amazing that you showed tonight. Absolutely loved it. Your picture of the worm was incredible.
Oh,
the sketches you did of Grom and of Njord, just good stuff.
It's coming together.
And to all of you guys watching us tonight, we thank you so much for being here. For those of you who catch us on the rewind, these gentlemen's links are in the description. So just go to the description, click on them, follow them. All of Mike's art links and all his stuff is listed there. Jim's channel on Instagram is there. Go check these fellas out. And as we like to end these things, we're going to say thank you so much for watching and keep it casual.
Take care, guys.
That was